What's up, YouTube? I'm the Car 131, and in this week's video, we are going to be doing some further testing from last week on the AAC Sabre Black Tip 75 grain 5.56. Now, if you did not tune in last week, I'll have the video linked right up here. I encourage you all to pause and go watch that one. In that video, I compared in just straight bare ballistics gel the three different loads of the 5.56 Sabre Black Tip. AAC, which as far as I'm aware is America's ammunition company for the record. I'm pretty sure it's basically just Palmetto State Armory's like sister company that makes their ammo. So this is their self-defense line. This is the one in 5.56 of the three 55, 62, and 75 grains that I tested last week. The 75 grain, in my opinion, did the best. So that is why it qualified to be put through the gauntlet, as it were, of the simulated FBI barrier test. Now, let's get this out of the way real quick. Some disclaimers. Believe it or not, my fat ass is not affiliated with the FBI. So this is not to their actual specs. That's why I say simulated all the time. This is not actual FBI ordnance organic gel. Some of the barriers that they call for, I don't have the exact same ones. I'm not at exactly 10 feet. I'm like 3 yards, basically 10 feet, same freaking difference. So this is not exact. Nothing about this is exact. There's going to be some variance versus the official FBI barrier tests. But I think this can give you some information on how a given load will perform should you have to engage a threat of some sort through one of these various kinds of barriers, which is exactly what this is meant to do. Now, stage one, I'm not going to be doing. The amount of ballistics gel I have is limited at the moment. So I'm not going to be reshooting stage one of the 6 stages for the FBI barrier test, because stage one is just bare plain ballistics gel, which is exactly what I did last week. Again, go check that other video if you want to see. The 75 grain black tip here, 75 grain Sabre black tip, not armor piercing black tip. It got to about 15 inches, had a pretty decent, pretty good overall temporary stretch cavity. So that's what really impressed me, and that's why it's in this week's video. So we are going to be skipping to stage 2, which has a couple layers of clothing material. The actual specs, I don't know exact, but it's a layer of cotton t-shirt material, a layer of cotton shirt material. I don't know what the difference is, but they specify it's a difference. 1 layer of fleece and 1 layer of denim. The purpose of this stage 2, technically, stage 1 for this video, the purpose of this, believe it or not, to test how a load will perform if you have to engage a subject and they happen to be wearing clothing. There's a possibility they might be wearing clothing, and this is designed to see how various clothing materials could impact a given load if you have to use it. So I'm gonna step off to about 3 yards and we will get this going. So again, stage 2 with the clothing materials, about 3 yards, 16-inch ballistic advantage barrel for the record, 75 grain, stage 2 of the FBI barrier test. 2551 velocity. Let us investigate. Shocking. It didn't do much different than the bare gel. I didn't really expect it to. It's not like an exposed hollow point. I am a little surprised. There is a slight difference, actually. Now that could just be general variation between 2 different loads. I'd have to shoot multiple of these to see what kind of variation, even in just bare gel, it is, but all that disregarded. Overall penetration, 14 inches. I'll twist this so I can see. Wow. All sides of this gel blow. So it looks like the fragments, I guess, are about inch and a quarter out to actually 12 inches. I see a little fragment that pushed out to 12 inches. The temporary stretch cavity damage is more like 1 inch to 7 inches-ish before it tapers off to just the core of the bullet. So again, like I said, my fingerprints, you can smear this and fuck it up, but it enters here, extends out, stops about right there. Wish I could get you guys a better view, but this gel is old. All right, so stage 3. It's one of my favorite stages. Stage 3 calls for 2 pieces of 20 gauge hot rolled steel with a galvanized finish. It is meant to simulate engaging a subject through through a car door, basically through the weakest part, I think, technically, of a car door. It also calls for the ballistics gel to be 18 inches behind the rearmost piece of steel. It is basically. It calls for the 2 pieces of t-shirt material, which I have on there. I rednecked it, and I put the gel on 2 pieces of 1x2, hopefully to get it a little more level with the wood contraption I built. You'll see it shortly. So, we will see how it goes. .2504 velocity. Most eventful. My t-shirt material is already fucking shredded. No! It's so windy out here right now. So, 2 pieces of steel. Technically speaking, going back to my disclaimer that I'm not the FBI, this is not 20 gauge steel with a 20 gauge hot rolled steel with a galvanized finish. This is 20 gauge steel with a galvanized finish, best I could find. But you can see, went through both of them. And let's see how it did in the gel. Turn this over. So it definitely had a curve to it. Overall penetration, 10.5 inches. The core went to 10.5 inches. There's another large piece, I think, of the jacket that is at 8.5. And it's hard to tell. I do still see fragments along the wound track, significantly less than if it didn't go through 2 pieces of steel though. So this one, I'll show you. It looks extremely tore up. It looks like the bullet had, it almost looks like it started to break up when it went through these. I'll show you up close the front of what what it looks like when it hit the gel. There's no neck at all. And the fragmentation, temporary stretch cavity damage goes basically immediately to 5.5 inches before it stops. And then again, a piece of the jacket is about 8.5, and the core, I believe, is 10.5. So you can see what it looked like when it first went in the gel. Very burnt. It did not look like this after the other one. Looks like it started to fragment a bit whenever it first went through. But entered in down here, kind of curved down, and that is a piece of the bullet. Maybe see it a little better on this side. That is the piece of jacket. That is the core of the bullet. Stage 4, we're in the back half. So stage 4 is 2 pieces of 1/2 inch gypsum board. This is 1/2 inch drywall I got from Lowe's. This is meant to simulate a typical interior wall, I believe, technically. 75 grain Sabre Black Tip. Very tore up t-shirt material. 2558 velocity. 2 pieces of drywall successfully penetrated. Shocking, I know. I didn't think it would penetrate. So, as always, I'll get you guys an up-close view. This is very bad gel, but you'll get something. Overall penetration looks like about 15.5 inches. There are 2 of them, the stage 2 and stage 4 now, are very close together. I'm gonna flip this gel around a little bit to try to get some slightly cleaner, as best I can, cleaner gel for the last 2. But 15.5 inches overall penetration, and I have no idea what the wound track looks like because, again, it is stacked very closely on top of another one. I'm betting it's going to look pretty similar in a very short neck and then probably 2-ish to 5 or 6-ish inches of temporary stretch damage. Stage 5, we are almost done. Stage 5 calls for 1 piece of, I believe, 3/4 inch drywall. It calls for like 3/4 inch AA rated fir plywood, rather. This is plywood I got from Lowe's. So again, sort of similar, might give you an idea, but not exact. So, 75gr Sabre Black Tip versus plywood. .2569 velocity. What are we looking at? Yes. As I suspected, this gel's really old and it's hard for me to tell. If only I had like a sponsor from Clear Ballistics so they just give me gel to use. It'd be lit. But overall penetration, 12.5 inches, just barely got past that minimum of 12 to 18 that I'm looking for, but it did technically get past it, as I'm coming to expect. Very short neck, maybe 1/2 inch, but it looks like it was pretty much expanding by the time it got there. And the fragmentation I see from 1 inch to probably 6 inches. However, it's getting really hard to tell with the massive amount of fragments that are already in these blocks. So that's from a different one. That is where it went in. Went into the gel. And as I said, hard to tell, but this fragment right here, I don't see any wound tracks this way, so it has to have come from this way. And again, very similar, pretty large explosive fragmentation, very short neck. You can't tell, but stopped right there. So we come to stage 6. In previous incarnations of my simulated FBI barrier test, I bought actual little 6x6 pieces of laminated safety glass. That is what stage 6 calls for. Technically, it is ASI 1/4 inch laminated automobile safety glass. Windshield. That's all it's meant to test, basically. It's like if you have to take a shot at somebody from the front left quarter panel, something like that, and there's like different angles it's supposed to be at. Don't need all that. So I looked at getting some of those little 6x6 pieces of glass. I don't remember them being $50 each. So instead, I hit up a local auto glass repair center and they gave me an entire windshield. It is cracked, obviously, as I already did. Disclaimer, this is not an exact replica of it. I do have it going through a portion of it that is not cracked. It's pretty much clear where I'm going to be shooting through. So mostly undamaged, but for the record, it is technically still cracked. That is why the auto repair center gave it to me for free. So yeah, let's do stage 6 and wrap this up. I have to make this quick. The wind is fucking me and it's blown everything over. So, windshield 75gr Sabre Black Tip. 2559 velocity. I managed to get it going through. I see this as an absolute win. In the words of Bruce Banner when he became stupid as a smart Hulk, but you know, we'll disregard that nerd stuff there. So, oh, come on, buddy. So, trying to find, pretty sure that's it. It didn't like getting pushed through laminated safety glass. Overall penetration, 8 inches. It was breaking up when it went through. So again, fragmentation was immediate and in multiple spots all around the block. And there were fragments basically going out all the way toward that final core hit at 8 inches. Kind of rushed, kind of sloppy compared to what I would like to do. My gel is old and, oh, big old windshield falling down. But I think I got enough to give my unprofessional redneck opinion on this 75gr Sabre Black Tip load from AAC. So, stage 1, bare gel, passed. Stage 2, heavy clothing, passed. Stage 3 was the 2 pieces of 20 gauge steel, failed. Stage 4 and 5, drywall and plywood, I believe it passed both of those, pretty positive. Stage 6, big boy, old windshield. It failed that one too. So, technically speaking, I can't say that it passed because it did fail a couple of the tests. However, my overall opinion and what I was kind of hoping to validate going into this, I think has been, in fact, validated. And that is the opinion that, given, as of recording this at least, I think it's out of stock right now, but when it is in stock, November 2023 prices, the Sabre Black Tip for 20 rounds is only $11. Compare that to some of the super high-end self-defense rounds. Are they better? Sure. They're also literally like 3 times as expensive. I want to say the Federal Fusion MSR I looked up was like 32, 11 or 32. That one is absolutely better. I'm not trying to dispute that, but for a pretty overall solid self-defense round that's cheap that you can actually maybe afford to stock up on, I think the 75gr 5.56 Sabre round from AAC, I think it can fit into that niche pretty well. Didn't pass all the tests exactly, but as a whole, overall, averaged out, I think I'm pleased enough with how it performed. So, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Tell me in the comments below, do you agree with me? Do you think that it performed adequately? Do you think it did not perform adequately? Are you one of those over-penetration weirdos and you're gonna bitch and say that it's gonna over-penetrate, go through the threat, and hit your neighbor across the street? If you think that, comment that too. It still helps my interactions. I don't really care. So, tell me what you thought of the video. If you want to see me do any more gel tests or simulated FBI barrier tests, Tell me in the comments also what other loads you'd like to see me test out. I will have linked in my description, by the way, the playlist that I have of some of the other FBI tests I've done. But yeah, so I'm the Calcar 131, signing off.
Worried I was just gonna start pulling.
Ah! They flopping. Stop your flopping. You look like a titty. Oh boy. Yeah. No, 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 no! No! Damn it! Fucking wind!